Oh, hello there! Long time no see. It's been a while. Once again, it takes me ages to upload a video. I wish that there was just more time for me to spend with you. But I'm a busy man. So what do you expect from me? Well, I know I've failed your expectations many times before, and I will probably continue to do it in the future. Despite this, I can still put out. And I put out something for you today. I hope you like something meaty and delicious. And also disgusting and disturbing. But mostly scrumptious, baby.
So good.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh yeah, and one last thing before we start this video. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
You filthy animal.
Yeah, so I played Scorn. It's free on Game Pass, baby, so I had to play it. So Scorn. Depending on who you ask, you'll get a varied array of opinions about this game. Some people will say it's awesome. Some people will say it's a disappointment. If you ask me, I'd say the game is freaking awesome, baby. Now, the first thing I gotta say is the game is a puzzle game. It is not a first-person shooter. There's one boss fight. There are two parts of the game where you will have to use your guns to protect yourself. Outside of that, you actually don't have to get in any fights whatsoever. So enemies and combat in this game is actually pretty brutal. I died so many times. Turns out, you don't even have to fight enemies. You leave them alone, and they'll crawl back in their holes where they came from. Like, they will literally crawl through a hole. And then they'll leave you alone. They'll just disappear. And I fought my way through the whole thing. It took me forever. So if you do decide to play the game, don't get in fights if you don't need to. Plus, the first weapon sucks, but the other weapons don't necessarily suck. The problem is during the early, middle, and beginning of the end, you have such limited ammo you literally can't kill all the enemies with your guns. So it becomes incredibly frustrating. I was just running past them, running around, and then it turns out you can just leave them, which is my advice to you. Just leave them. Don't even touch them if you don't have to. So another negative aspect about Scorn, as I was reading through reviews that I saw people didn't like, was that they had no clue what they were doing. Scorn is similar to Dark Souls in the sense that it just puts you in the game, doesn't tell you where to go, but the world and the map design kind of directs you in the direction you're supposed to go. And there were definitely times in the game where I had no clue what the was going on. But through experimentation, figuring things out, walking around, exploring the world, I figured it out, and it feels rewarding. And I know you could figure it out too, or my name isn't Buffalo Flats. A lot of reviews compare Scorn to H.R. Geiger. Yeah, I didn't know anything about H.R. Geiger. Turns out he created the Xenomorph. He does biomechanical art. He's a Swiss artist. He recently died. Very sad. But he played a big inspiration in the art style of Scorn. My favorite artist, and another artist that gets named in comparison to the Scorn art style, is Zdzisław Bekczynski. I recommend watching that video in the top right of my screen. Just look up The Nightmare Artist. Amazing video. I didn't even know I liked art until I watched that video. Zdzisław Bekczynski is a Polish artist that was a child during World War II, and he says there's not really any meaning behind his art. I mean, maybe there's no meaning and he just painted stuff that he thought looked cool. I don't fucking know. And he died over not giving $100 to his caretaker's son. And that's why you keep that heat on you, baby, at all times, because you never know when you're going to need it. The Scorn world is also really cool. It's one of the best parts of the game. The art design is just so good. I'm telling you, it's just so good. But you should just enjoy this little preview of the beauty of this dystopian future. With appropriate music to match. In my opinion, the imagery in the world itself is the pinnacle of the game. I think that the world is beautiful. I personally view it as an art piece as well as a game. And if that's your kind of thing, then I think you'd really like this game, especially if you like this dark kind of imagery stuff. But if you're not a fan of it, I'd probably recommend skipping the game. And if you don't like really intense gore and body horror, I would also recommend not playing this game because I'm about to show some clips of more of the body horror and gore within the game. I haven't seen many other YouTubers actually show this, so hopefully I don't get in trouble. But I think because I'm a small YouTuber, we might just be able to squeak by without getting in trouble.
Well. Kakarot, you dog! You did it! You actually did it! You're a Super Saiyan!
So we just got this poor little guy in this chair. His name is Mold Man. In the lore, they're called Mold Men because they're in this little shell that molds them to the shape of the shell that they're molded in. And they use their bodies to power various technologies in their world because their technologies are powered by human meat.
I put a lock on the fridge.
Yeah.
And only left one piece of meat out. Human meat!
Now just take a look at what happens to this little guy. And be warned, it just gets worse from here. Sucks to be him, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
The game does have a lot of dark body horror, like grotesque, gory imagery, but they use it to tell a story about their world as well as about their customs, their culture, and their civilization and how it functions. The civilization uses human meat to power their technology, and they also use like sex as worship. In fact, the whole game is an allegory to birth. And I don't want to get too deep into it. You should play the game, and if you're still confused, like I was kind of confused, look it up. Look it up on YouTube. There's some really good videos explaining the story of the game, and it's all a metaphor to birth. Both the good and the negative, various complications that can go along with birth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe I know what you are saying.
I feel so bad for this guy. He's reaching out for help. He's been reaching out. Man, this is at the beginning of the game. So I genuinely felt just like shit.
Human meat!
Now be prepared, because this next part is also pretty gory, and I felt bad about doing this. You actually can do something else with this guy instead of what I did, but I didn't know that at the time. And that's Scorn for you. Now here's a short gore montage. Once again with perfectly fitting music for what you're about to see. And that's enough gore. I don't want to spoil all the good stuff for you.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you were saying. You don't have to keep asking.
But, yeah, that is Scorn for you. So, if it looks like fun to you, play it. If you have Game Pass, it's free. And if you don't, it's on sale for $30 right now. Yeah.